All right, people of YouTube and ones who've been following my channel, I finally wanted to do something with my Xterra. So I was given this rough country suspension leveling kit as a gift from my brother, who's awesome. He's going to be helping me do the install today, but just kind of wanted to go through some of the stuff that it came with. If you've seen the rough country lift for the Frontier or Xterra, you may have seen the video of them installing it, and the components that they use are a little bit different than what we have here. So this one is an aluminum spacer instead of what looked like a metal spacer in that video that's on YouTube right now, that's posted by Rough Country. Also, that one had a spacer between the leaf springs, while this one has shackles that we're going to be installing. So I'm going to hope that this goes well and show you guys how to install it. Just be patient with me. It's kind of a big thing that I'm doing here, but it'll be fun. I'm gonna show you that's what it came with. Spacers, some hardware, shackles. I had to order the cam bolts also, but I'm probably going to install those later, so we'll just focus on this stuff for now. With this rough country leveling kit, it came with instructions, just printed out instructions on how to install it, and just kind of wanted to point out a little bit what to expect on it. You see it tells you all the tools that you're going to need, which is really convenient. I have all of these tools. They're just basic tools that you'd have, so it should be relatively simple to put together. Nice picture diagrams too, showing you what to expect as you're getting into it, and hopefully it's as easy as it's looking in these photos. We'll find out. So we're doing the leveling kit for the Frontier and Xterra. The first steps was to jack up the vehicle and remove the tires. So I got that part done, obviously. If you don't know how to do that, you probably don't want to do this, because we just did the other side and we came across a lot of little issues they're able to get through, but it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. Alright, so the next step, if you do want to do this yourself, is to remove the cotter pin right here. So, I mean, that's pretty basic. Just gotta get that loose, straighten it out a little, and you can just push it out. Also, I thought I'd make note, it's about 5:15 p.m. So I'm going to let you know how long it takes to do this. After we're done, I'll tell you what time it is. So it'll give you a good idea to do one side. Alright, cotter pin out. Next step is to remove this bolt. The instructions say on this piece of paper, remove the upper ball joint cotter pin and the upper ball joint nut using a 22mm wrench. I didn't have one in my kit, so I had to buy one. So you might want to make sure that you have what you need before you get started on this. So, see that? Not very tight. Pretty easy to remove. Alright. So this is technically loose now, but it's still attached. So it says to hit that with a hammer and it'll just fall out. So. So after a few whacks, that just pops right out. This is loose, obviously, but pretty basic there. Next step that it says to do is to remove the 3 upper strut bolts that secure the strut to the upper mount. And the instructions say to use a 19mm wrench. This is wrong. It's these little nuts here, and they're a 14mm. So I'll remove those now. Okay, so we removed these bolts that attach the strut, so it's loose now, as you can see a little bit. Next step on the instructions, it says to remove the sway bar link right here. That uses a 17mm one, so I'm going to give that a shot. This will give you an idea of how tight they are. The other one wasn't too bad, but we'll see here. It's a little tight. I'm gonna switch to the longer bar. There we go. So gives you an idea of how tight it is. Not terrible. I mean, if you have the tools for it, obviously use pneumatic tools, but you could obviously do it with hand tools just fine. Oh, sorry. Good. So I removed this bolt that attaches the sway bar, and now this is all loose now, so you could kind of wiggle this through, and then that's good. You want that out of the way. Okay, the next step that it says to do is to remove the lower strut bolt. No, that's wrong. No, that's right. Yeah, to remove the lower strut bolt, which is this right here. I didn't have the right tools. You can see this nut sticks out pretty far, so I needed a deeper socket. You might want to make sure that you have a deeper than standard socket, a 19mm one. I also needed to get an extension for my 1/2-inch driver, which I didn't have. So I got that though, and now we're ready to go. Okay, so here's obviously my extension. Kind of a crazy setup just because that bolt was so hard to access, but got that here. And this one takes a little bit of effort. So I have a third hand here that's holding that against it. Let me get this through. There we go. Okay, so our next step, after I just removed that bolt or that nut, so this just needs like a little bit of a coercing to get out of here, kind of. See that? It's not very tight. Got that in there. And this sway bar's in the way a little bit, or a lot. It's okay. Yeah. All right, so this sway bar on the other side, we ended up just removing it because it was just in the way so much. So we just loosened it so you could move it around a little bit more. So that's what I'm gonna do now. It takes a 17mm nut, or socket, excuse me. And I'm gonna get rid of that. You might not have this problem. I'm hoping, I don't think all of them do, but this is the off-road model. So I think that might be why it has that, because it has this sway bar. But I'll get rid of it now. And it's pretty tight. All right, so remove that bolt there. So now this sway bar is nice and movable. We could move it so we could get this bolt out. And you want to do that because now we could remove this strut. See that? Piece of cake. So nice. All right. Here's what the spacer looks like. It's just a piece of machined aluminum. Decent quality. Comes with all the hardware you need. Yeah. You'll notice though, if you've seen the videos online with them installing the lift kit on the Frontier, it uses a different style of spacer. It uses one that is steel and it's offset. So this one's a little bit different because this one's aluminum and it's one solid billet piece. So But this goes over the strut just like this. Really couldn't be easier. So our instructions for installing this spacer says to use the hardware that you just removed from the original strut to put it in here. So that's these nuts, not the ones that came with it. So we'll just put those in there, and they tighten super easily. And then the hardware that came with it that was attached, which included some washers, lock washers, and some short nuts, that's what's going to be used to install it back onto the truck. So I have this spacer installed. Yeah, see that? Rough Country logo right there. Now all you gotta do is slide it back up in there, and it's rotated 180 degrees to accommodate that spacer. So that's that. See, kind of fits pretty good there. Now we'll just secure it all with the provided hardware. Okay. All right, so we got this all attached with the washer, lock washer, then the nut, and that went super smooth. So now we're putting this bolt back through here. It's going to be a little bit snugger because you got a spacer in there now, but still should be pretty easy to get. See that? And then you just put that bolt back on. Okay. So, got that bolt back in to attach the strut. The next step I would suggest would be to attach this portion that connects the sway bar. Especially if you still have your sway bar disconnected, it's gonna be so easy to just maneuver so you could get that bolt right in there. All right, so now we need to get this mated back up with this. So to do that, we're gonna jack up this control arm, get it as high up there as we can. So we're able to get this attached. Once you're able to jack this up a little bit, you can pull this down pretty far. So now we just tighten it then with that 22 millimeter. So there it is. Got the our spacer back in, got the strut all installed, reassembled everything. I didn't have this in the video, but we of course reattached the sway bar linkage that we loosened. So now just gotta put the wheels on and lower it. So that's that, and we'll get to the rear next. It's about 6 o'clock right now. So it took about 45 minutes to do this side. Could probably do better. That included some time for us to have a beer. So yeah, 30-45 minutes I'd say to do each side if you know what you're doing. All right, thanks for watching. So we just installed one of these replacement shackles doing the lift. I just wanted to show you, this is the one that we just took off from the driver's side. I don't know why the instructions said to do the driver's side first, but I'm sure you could do either side. But just to kind of compare it to the new shackle that it's replacing, the new shackle's obviously longer, but much better quality too. You could see a lot thicker material, much stronger. So you'd like to see that before we install this one. All right, so we'll walk you through how to install these shackles now. Okay. All right, so we're getting ready to do the lift on the rear of the Xterra or Frontier, if you have that. So first step, other than obviously jacking the vehicle up and putting it on jack stands, removing the wheels and tires, the first step is to remove the nuts shackle bolts on the driver's side. Uses a 17mm socket. It says driver's side to start with, but we already did that. So now we're on the passenger side. So I'm just going to give you an idea of kind of the pressure that's needed to do this. Hopefully not too much, but so not too hard if you have a good enough bar. So we removed this part of the shackle that was attached here. You can see that. And so this is off now. Now we have to remove this section. But it's really awkward. You can't get a hammer in here to knock it out. And so we're gonna use something else. We're gonna use this bar and hammer on it, just because it's at such an awkward angle. It's the only way I could figure to get that thing out. All right, where were we? Okay, we are removing this factory shackle. You'll see the problem that we came across, that when we tried to remove it, it was hitting the tailpipe. And so the only thing I could think to do was to make this a little bit more movable. So what I did is came inside here, and you see I removed where it was attached right here. See that? There you go. So it was attached there with 3 ridiculously long bolts, but remove that. So now this thing's hopefully movable enough to get that plate out. So we'll get that out and then we'll start installing the shackle. Alright, so got the factory shackle out, replaced it with these big old honking shackles. So pretty basic. Put the bolt through, the long bolt, and also that little piece that goes through the bushings, and washer nut right here. So pretty simple. We're gonna tighten this up a little bit, then pull it back down and pull this leaf spring back down, which is a pain. So we'll let you see how that goes.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna pull this leaf spring down to match up with these holes in the shackle, and it doesn't sound too difficult, but once you get down pretty about here, it gets really hard to pull it down any farther. So we have to get some leverage. So this is probably not the best way to do this, but it worked for us. So we're gonna try it out again. All right. Okay, here we go. There we go. There it is. There we go. That'll work.
Okay, so we got the new shackles mounted. They look really good. And the instructions said to lower the vehicle and then tighten them to the required torque. So we did that, got the tires back on. I also wanted to mention, you'll see that I had to remove the spare tire. The spare tire was just in the way, so you'll probably have to remove it also. If not, then cool, but we had to. So we're gonna lower it now and do it final tighten. Then we'll have some photos to do a comparison of before and after. All right, thanks for watching.